Hey Delaney, this is Sean. Looking at your hips walk cycle animation pass, which should start to be using your video reference to work stuff out. I called this out in the class and on Discord and on the assignment, but this blue guy here should not be moving. But unfortunately, it is moving, so we should fix this. I figured the easiest thing for me is to just show you how to fix it in a video, and then hopefully you can watch this back and figure out how to fix this up. And you need to do all these things before you can start looking at your reference video. We'll also need to turn on, once we fix the feet, the upper arms and spine and stuff and work all that out. But for starters, I'm going to just get rid of the motion on this. So one option, probably the easiest one, is to just delete that and then start moving all that stuff forward. And just like kind of rework your poses, or you can get kind of fancy. So what I'm going to do is use this, in case you missed it. I've covered this a few times on things, the animation layers system. So it's a tab over here under the channel box. I added this added whatever I had selected to this layer, which I had grabbed the two shoes, the two knees, and the hips, I think, and added this layer. Just to double check, I'm going to add selected objects again. So they should be all in a layer. And I refreshed the selection so there's no curve. When I'm on the base layer, I see the curve. So I'm going to set a key right here, and then I think I need to add this to the layer as well. I'm going to set this back to 0 on a layer. So you have like the base thing is moving it, and then I'm sort of unmoving it. And then I'm going to take the shoes and the feet and the hips, and we're on the layer. I'm going to set a key on 1, set a key on 33. This is not working right. Hold on. That is not at all what I wanted to see. I'm going to make the sphere kind of both at 0. Let's get really close here. Okay, that's pretty close. Now I'm going to grab you guys and translate you forward to the same position forward. So I'm turning the layer on and off. So it's off, it's back. I'm trying to get them right on top of each other. So the change basically is now he's walking forward with this layer because the layer is turning off the blue thing and adding a forward motion on those objects. And I'm going to make the forward motion linear because it's curved right now, so it's going to slowly start and then slow down to a stop at the end. So I'm going to change this to linear. Then I'm going to merge these layers back down. So this should get me to get rid of the root motion data and still have the forward motion that you made already. So that's one option, is to get fancy, all like that. And just double checking I'm still recording. And then, or just kind of rebuild all your poses again. Okay, so once you did that, now we can fix these poses. So with the foot is on the ground, the shoe should be flat on the ground. I do cover this in the video, but it's really common for people to make that mistake. Oh, let me back up. See how there's keys on every frame? I did that by mistake. I'm going to undo back to where the layers here. And then when I merge layers, I'm going to go option box over here. I'm going to say smart bake, and then I'm going to say merge again. So now I'm back. But now I have keys just where you set the keys. Looks like you might have an extra keyframe on 19 there. I don't know if I did that or it was an accident. Delete that guy. Just trying to get kind of all the poses being constructed correctly. So I'm going to reset the rotation data on the shoe and 0 the height to get it back flat on the ground. And then Instead, I'm going to use the toe and the ball roll and make sure the heel is 0. It is. Okay, so now I'm building that like contact position on the back foot. So I'll do the same thing over here. When a 0 rotation, the height is already 0, which is good. And then on the contact pose, you want to have the heel up a little like that. And then, just to sort of get this done faster, from frame 1 to where the foot lifts up, which is right here, this is the toe push. I'm going to make it the same pose, and then fix the poses up. Let's see here. Okay, so they're the same, but you see it sliding. I need to hit auto curve. Now it's going to be solid. Okay, so now the foot is solid, but I need to pose the actual parts here. I'll set a key on all the frames so I can get that back. This is the toe. Should be up like this. Zero this out. Anytime you see something weird on the feet, you just zero everything out and then kind of repose things. I think your hips are probably too high. I think your foot was too high before, so when I lowered the foot, now you have to lower the hips too. I usually start by like making sure the feet is good, and then I pose the hips. I'm just zeroing out the heel, dropping that down. I think this is probably this is our kick, and then our land, and then this is the push off. I'm gonna make the shoe flat on the ground until the toe lifts off the ground, so this pose should kind of look like this. This will allow you to get more distance. This is the passing position. I like to do the same thing where I just like reset stuff to clean the feet up. Think about it like the foot is in a shoe, so this is like the shoe, and then your foot is kind of like doing stuff inside of there. So it's like, what is the foot sole doing in this case? Or like a flip flop where like things are lagging behind until the foot lifts off the ground and everything lifts. It's a little bit weird, but this is a pretty standard way of doing how to do 3D animation, foot plants and stuff. I think these are the same. I was noticing there's like a wiggle on that back foot. If you're wondering where my eyes are looking, I'm almost always looking at where the object I have selected is, because I like to select the thing and then see the curve and see the motion at the same time, just to kind of try and evaluate it. Hit auto curve again, should flatten that out. Good. Come pass through. This should be a kick, and that's a contact pose. Okay, cool. So this is the kick, zeroing out the controls. If you're curious, I have a hotkey that's zeroing out the rotation. I can give you that if it's something you want, but all it's really doing is grabbing the rotation data on the object and then setting 0 on all the rotation values. Okay, so this is the contact pose, and that's going to stay till the very end of your animation. So we can just put this shoe down, and then leave it alone until the end of the walk cycle, which is kind of nice. I'm going to zero all this stuff out, put the heel back. I know the heel's supposed to be back. And then I'm going to keep the shoe all the way across. Also, if there's something I'm doing and you don't know how to do it yet, you should ask, because I probably covered it at some point in the class, but there's a lot that gets covered in the first animation class. So just wanted you to be aware of that. I think this is on the wrong frame. 21. Okay. We can also jump on a call at some point if you need me to slow down and so you can ask questions and stuff. Obviously, this video you can just pause it whenever you have questions on things. I think this is actually a perfectly flat foot, and then it starts to bend back. Again, I need to auto curve that guy. So that's the flat foot because it goes, the heel is here, the hips need to be there. This is our contact pose. We'll look at that in a minute. Just want to make sure like we're using the shoes correctly is like step one of any walk cycle. I mean, you can kind of use your reference to help figure out. This is your passing. There's your that's a down. That's the down. This should be your passing position. So this should be more like this, I think. That's your down. That's your up, and then down, and then passing. Okay. Oh, maybe I got this wrong. Where did I get wrong? Let me look up the reference real quick. Not this one. Hold on. It's on the other screen. Down, passing, up, contact. Yeah, something's... Okay. Contact, down, passing, up, contact, down. Oh yeah, there's a missing... I messed this one up. Okay, go back. That's on the ground. Toe is rolled. This is the down position. Then the passing. Then up. I can tell the feet are set up wrong if I drag the hips down and the knee doesn't start bending till way down here. So I'll just reset the toe, reset these things. I know on the up there's a kick here that's pretty strong. To get that way you can get the hips up a little bit higher. This is also the kick, and then contact again. I always want to have some bend in the knee. Again, you can see I have to pull the hips down really far before it starts to work. What is this pose? Passing. This is the one where the toe is rolled. Here it's like this. Okay, so now we got all our basic poses structured, and the feet are solid and flat. The other big thing you want to look at, and this is where you can start looking at reference on like how far do your feet separate on the contact pose. You can kind of look at any pose, but usually the contact pose is where the feet are the farthest apart. And most people will walk with their feet really consistently apart from each other. So what I usually look for is like making sure if this is the distance, so this is like 1, not 2, so 2 would be here. So this is like 1.75, you know, 1 and 3/4. So that I want to make sure this contact pose is the same deal. So that's 1. That's half. This is actually pretty close. I'm going to move it just a little bit further forward because it feels uncomfortable. And this is the contact pose, which is pretty straight. Maybe we can go figure out how to get this right. Contact pose has a pretty straight front leg and a bent back leg. Somewhere in there, probably. That's kind of accurate. And then on the end, we want to do the same thing, 1 3/4 on the contact position. This should be on the ground. What I usually do on the looper pose, because 33, we're going to use this to loop your animation. 1 and 33 need to match. So what I'll do is I'll grab 1, middle mouse drag to 33, which makes everything drag back. Oh, whoops. Okay, set a key on 29. I'm going to set a key everywhere. Just jumping to keyframes and pressing S. Middle mouse drag 1 to 33. Then I'm going to grab the things that will translate. So just the shoes, the 2 knees, the hips, and move that forward. And then how far forward, I usually match the back foot. So there, I did it, nailed it right on the first try. I'm surprised. And that should actually loop really cleanly. So what's due on Tuesday is this plus the body and arms animated, and using your reference to figure out what are the arms doing, what is the spine doing, what is the head, what is the neck doing. Also, because this root now we didn't animate it, this is why it's useful. So we've got the guy walking forward, right? Normally, at least for video games, you want the guy to usually start at 0 most of the time. I'm going to delete these keys. And then walk forward. I'm going to hide the arms so it's not distracting. So that's what's happening. So I'm going to actually drag this backwards to get him to walk in place. Make this curve linear. And then now I'm gonna kind of line up. Oh, dude! Wow, I think I know this is just totally random. I usually don't nail this so quickly. See how it's the same? So now if I push play, he's walking in place. So what I'll do when I'm animating a walk cycle is I'll work on it in place, make sure it looks good here, and then I'll also make sure it looks good while it's walking forward. And what I can do is right-click on Translate Z and go freeze. Is it freeze translate? No, that's not what I wanted. Mute. There it is. Mute selected. That just takes whatever that I selected and doesn't run the keys on it. Just kind of ignores the keys. So I can make sure my feet are planted, the shoes are working right, the curves are making sense. Like I caught, there's a, I'll get into that later. There's a little issue right there, but whatever. And then I also like to look at it with this unmuted, and then I can watch it actually walk in place and make sure both things look good. There's other tricks. This is just one of the many tricks you can do if your walk actually translates forward through space as opposed to walks on the position. The downside to having something walk in place is manually dragging the feet back and backwards. It's very hard to calculate how far the character is walking through space and how fast, which is a big part of both feature film animation and video games. Okay, hopefully this is helpful. I probably went kind of fast. I've done this a whole bunch of times for most of the students, so it's no big deal. It's a really important thing to understand in order to be successful at making a walk cycle. All right, see you later.